Hello, and welcome to So You Think You Can Rule Persia, the podcast where we rate and review all the kings of Persia from Diocles to Yazdegerd III. I'm Sariel, and my pronouns are they, them.
And I'm Umberto, and my pronouns are he, him. Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 77, Hormizd III.
Okay, Hormizd.
So,
Let's go. Let's do this.
Yes, we're coming out of the reign of Yazdegerd II. What vibe did you get off of Yazdegerd II? Do you remember that episode?
I need to look at my drawings. I'm a bit lost at the moment. I mean, I know that we've had some, issues with succession as per usual because the nobles got in the way, and then the rightful ruler got on the throne, and then his son got on the throne, so that was fine.
Yep. The son was Yazdegerd II.
Yeah, exactly. And he did okay. Actually tried to take a more active role in governing than his father, because his father was never meant to be the actual successor, so he enjoyed hunting and partying and left it all to the nobles, which, meant that the nobles really liked him. With Yazdegerd II, he played a bigger role in government and tried to leave a choice for them to make regarding who was to succeed him. So he didn't name a ruler, but he left it up to the nobles which one of his sons should be the heir. So how did that go? Because I think this is not a long episode. So something tells me that,
we'll see.
Stuff's gonna happen.
Yes. What do you think is going to happen? What is your
Well, I think
prediction
the nobles are going
based on the length of the episode?
Yeah, I think the nobles are going
other
to choose
elements.
one of the sons, and then the other one is going to be like, nope. And, there's going to be battles, and one of them will get killed, and the other one will get on the throne. I don't think they're going to give it to a third person, because that would be strange, because we haven't been talking in the past episodes of, any contenders. So I assume it's going to be between the two brothers, and one of them is going to have the support of the nobles, and the other one is not going to, and then, militarily or otherwise, one of them will die. Or the nobles would, choose one and then be like, nope, we made a mistake, and then assassinate him and get the other one on the throne, because that has happened before.
Several times.
So, yeah, something like that, probably.
Okay, well, let's find out how it goes. First of all, brief recap of Yazdegerd II. You mentioned correctly that he governed reasonably well with the help of the nobles, which means he was quite well liked. It went quite well. Bit of a negative side is he persecuted a bunch of Jews and Christians, which caused a rebellion in Armenia, which wasn't fun. He crushed that rebellion in Armenia, and in the east there was rumors of a storm coming. The nomads at the border of the empire were trying to raid into the empire more often. Yazdegerd stopped them, but it looks like there's somebody bigger in the steppe that is coming down to crush us all. So we'll see if that ominous bit of news ever comes to anything, or if it's just a red herring. Might be.
Mm-hmm.
And so Yazdegerd left the possibility. He left two sons, Hormizd and Peroz, and the nobles were allowed to decide which one they wanted to take the throne.
Yep. Okay.
So let's start with Hormizd and what his deal is. So he was the eldest son of Yazdegerd II and was kind of marked as the heir. Though he wasn't officially named, the nobles had that choice. It was kind of made obvious that Hormizd is the one.
This is why it was kind of like a patronizing choice of you have this person who has been educated since birth to be able to rule and to know what he needs to do and is capable and smart and well liked and blah blah, has all of these qualities. And then there's his brother who's also there.
Yeah.
But I would have not left that to the nobles, because knowing the nobles, they just want some drama to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they thrive on chaos.
They would most probably think, if we put an ill-prepared person on the throne, then we have more power. Because hopefully this person will not want to reign or will not know really how to make decisions and will be able to, like, do whatever we want. So, that's...
Mm-hmm. But, okay, so Hormizd was sort of indicated as the heir, but since Armenia isn't a thing anymore, he had to be given a different kingdom to govern. So he was given the kingdom of Sakistan in the east.
He could have also been given Armenia.
But then he would just be a governor, not a king.
Yeah, it's not like
as fancy.
Prestigious. Okay.
Yeah.
So do we have other kingdoms? Is this an actual, like,
we
separate
have a
kingdom?
few other kingdoms.
Okay.
We don't have that many, but like one of the kingdoms, the one that Hormizd is given, is the kingdom of Sakistan in the east. So that is basically the eastern edge of the empire, which somewhat protects against nomads, somewhat is just an important region. And that has always been semi-independent for a long while, and it was usually the second kingdom after Armenia to be given to, like, the second best son. But now that Armenia's, being governed mostly by its nobles and supervised by a governor, now Sakistan is where the business is. And then, in 457, we're told that Yazdegerd II died peacefully in Persia, and we can assume that Hormizd was with him at the time, because we receive news that there were sounds of rebellion from the east by Hormizd's brother Peroz.
Right.
Which is kind of weird, because that's where Sakistan is, and where you'd expect Hormizd to have his control.
Hormizd to be, right.
But it looks like Peroz's base of support was slightly further north, near Khorasan, that area, roughly. So, okay, turns out the fact of not really having a certain heir leads to civil war starting almost immediately. It looks like there were some families supporting Peroz, although it looks like the majority of them were supporting Hormizd. So a majority of the nobles could fit the square peg into the square hole. Some of them are trying to fit it into the round hole.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. The interesting thing about this civil war is that the two boys' mom is still alive. She's a woman called Denag. She is the queen, and she acts as regent and basic ruler of the empire for this amount of time.
Oh.
Because her sons are trying to kill each other, and she's just like, okay, I need to, like, keep the empire together somehow.
Rule.
Stop fighting, children. Don't.
Imagine seeing because are these her sons?
These are her sons, yes.
Yeah, so imagine seeing your children just, like, being petty and battling it out, because, I mean, it's also how they've been raised. Like, this is just common with kings. It's hard to be a good, balanced, empathetic, team player kind of person when you're royalty. Or I guess, which, I don't know if it's hard or not, but, like, it doesn't happen often. And so you see your two sons just off in a field trying to kill each other, and you're like, okay, well, am I a bad mother? or just like, I mean, well, they were good for nothings anyway, let me rule for a while. They might as well kill each other.
There was a lot of tragedy you can put in here. It's like, these children grew up together, she raised them both, and it's like, well, now they're gonna kill each other, and it's like, I mean, what am I gonna do now? So yeah, kind of sad, but hey, that's what being part of the royal family is. You have to somehow kill a family member at some point if you want things to work out for you. Otherwise, you're the family member that gets killed. So fun times all round.
Yep.
But yes, Queen Denag is basically the ruler of the empire. We even have a carved jewel with her face on it and the title Bambishnan Bambishan, which basically means Queen of Queens.
Mm-hmm.
Although it does have implications of her being the daughter of a king. But, Queen of Queens is a simple translation.
Okay. So like an equivalent to Shahanshah in a way?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Huh.
So she's not exactly queen in her own right, but she is important enough that she is recognized as the ruler for a lot of people.
All right.
So that's pretty cool of her.
Yeah.
And also it's interesting that it doesn't look like she's favoring any of her sons, but she's trying to be like an impartial ruler and trying to say, just sort it out between yourselves and I'll give the throne to whoever
Honestly, fair.
wins.
Yeah.
Just do
If
it.
you don't want to get into the madness, you just, get some popcorn and watch it from a distance and then be like, okay, we'll deal with whatever happens when it happens.
Yeah. Also, while all this civil war is breaking out, the Kingdom of Caucasian Albania decides to start its own rebellion.
Hey.
Because it was a Christian kingdom that was a Sassanid vassal state, and having seen what happened to Armenia, they decide to, you know what, let's be independent. We don't want to be persecuted.
Wait, but so they saw what happened to Armenia, but then they want to be independent? Wasn't that the issue?
Well, they want to try and do the thing where it's like, maybe now they're with the Romans. Who knows?
Oh.
They're trying to do the ping-ponging. They're trying to be the new Armenia.
It didn't end well for Armenia, but okay.
No, but they survived for 500 years.
Yeah.
Good
but
enough, I suppose.
under constant turmoil. You get an independent state, but then you're constantly at war. Or under some sort of, issue. I don't know if that's worth it.
I suppose they prefer to be annexed. I mean, the government at the time thought so, presumably.
Yep, okay. I guess.
So the fact is that Albania had rebelled together with Armenia under Yazdegerd II, but had been suppressed. But since Albania is a pretty inaccessible region of the Caucasus, it was where a lot of former Armenian rebels had fled after the rebellion had failed. So essentially, this is where all the refugees from the persecutions could hide, and now they're deciding altogether, haha, this is our moment to break free of the Sassanid Empire and retake what's ours. So, okay. Civil war, not helping. But okay, who is supporting each side? Because we have that Hormizd is being supported by probably a majority of the noble families, which are ruling across the empire.
Okay, yeah.
But Peroz, the younger brother, is being supported by the most powerful of these noble families, by the house of Mihran.
Okay, so it is kind of problematic. Because I was like, yeah, probably most
Yes.
nobles will go to one side and then,
Yes, but the problem is the most powerful ones have gone to Peroz's side.
Yep.
So, with these forces, it looks like the two brothers are somewhat equal. So we need somebody to break the tie.
Are they not going to fight, militarily?
Well, if they fight, it could go either way. If you want to make sure you're going to win, you need support from somebody else. Who could you get for support? If you were a pretender
Can you
brother,
imagine if they get
where would
the
you
Romans
look for your
involved?
support?
I think that would be hilarious.
You laugh, Serial.
No!
Not this time, but one day.
Oh my god, my heart.
One day, Serial.
Please do not do this to me. Oh my god. Okay.
It's a similar idea. Who else could provide support?
Okay, so what happened to I always forget if these important families from the steppe, if they're part of the empire, or if they're just kind of they just hang out.
So in the steppe, there are a bunch of their own empires spreading out. And we have some noble families which control the borders with the steppe.
Yeah.
So that's something that the Mihran family has. They control the northern border with the steppe.
Are those the ones that... No, what were the ones that went all the way back to, Cyrus? Remember? With the Parthians. The family that, legitimizes...
Oh, the Suren family.
Yes, I always forget the name, so I'm like...
Yes. It's them. You remembered the concept. That's
okay, good.
Surprising, but good. Good to hear. But yeah, the Suren family, they aren't really mentioned in the sources, so we can assume that they are with Hormizd.
Okay.
Because they would be mentioned if they were rebelling.
True, yeah. Right. So,
although they will become important in a couple kings.
So are we calling someone from outside the empire to help?
That is correct, Serial.
Are we going to the east or the west?
Well, the west is kind of annoying, and...
I mean, it's mostly Rome, and whatever troubles they have with the Huns.
Yes. Rome is busy watching the west fall.
Yep.
And being like, oh my god, no, put it back together, put it back together! Oh no, it's gone! Oh, well, damn. But if we look in the east, Peroz has easy access to the steppe. He controls the border with the steppe. And he's
Right.
heard news that the nomads that have been on our border and raiding us for the last few decades are terrified of somebody behind them.
Uh-huh.
So Peroz sends a messenger to these new nomads. These nomads are called the Hephthalites.
Is it the Huns?
They are called the White Huns. They
Oh.
are a branch of the Huns that are coming from a different geographical region.
I see. Because I was like, I thought the Huns weren't here at the moment.
The Huns are in the far west, and
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know if Attila has died already, but he's close to dying anyway. He's at the end of his rope.
Okay.
But there's still different Huns here.
Yep.
And yeah, these Hephthalites are becoming extremely powerful, and we don't know where they came from or what their role was in steppe society, but they are extremely impressive because we know that they have contacts with China and may have been annexing the nomads on the border with the Sassanid Empire.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a chunky nomadic empire on our border now.
Right.
And well, what happens? Well, Peroz somehow convinced their king that he was the legitimate heir and not Hormizd. And it looks like he probably convinced the Khan of the Hephthalites that he would help him subdue some of the tribes on their border with the Sassanid Empire and add that to the nomadic empire itself. So
Right.
Peroz is saying, if you make me king, I will give you all the steppe that you can see.
I guess if we're not incredibly scared of them, that's a good idea.
Can you see any downsides to this?
If they come up to our borders, what's stopping them from then conquering our borders?
Well, Serial, you would have made an excellent king because you have more foresight
Yep.
than Peroz has.
I
He
do
thinks,
hope,
"Yep, let's go for it."
hope he's not going to
Consequences
be
be
on the
damned.
throne, because clearly, I mean, to be fair, he wasn't the one that wasn't supposed to rule, right? So,
Yeah.
but whoever ends up on the throne is going to have to deal with
Yeah,
this.
this has very far-reaching consequences.
Like, the people that are raiding us are scared of these people. Why would
Yeah.
we think that they're going to be our friend? Like, they're clearly not having trouble, the White Huns are not having trouble dealing with these tribes. So, like, our help is, like, fine, but then they're going to go after us. Like, we're not solving their world for them to, like, respect us in that way or to, like, owe us.
Yeah, and the Hephthalites have an empire that stretches to China.
Yeah.
That's a lot scarier than the, like, tiny
Yeah.
nomads on
This
your border.
is like
that
when
were
I'm
just
playing
chilling.
Stellaris and you randomly bump into a new civilization and you realize that half the galaxy is theirs. And you're like, nope, I'm gonna go the other way and I'm just gonna pretend that I'm not here.
Well, Peroz thinks it's either ask for their help or get executed for
I mean,
treason.
Fair.
Okay, let's go for
But
it.
you don't have to destroy the Empire just because.
He could have just accepted the succession and been a smart boy,
Yeah.
but no.
Like, you could have maybe gotten executed anyway because kings are known to not be super
Exactly,
chill
yeah.
with competition. But, like, maybe you could have just been, exiled to some kingdom and, like, rule there or something.
Yeah.
And not put everything at risk. Man, just, I guess it's a very human response. Like, it is still a person making decisions, right? So.
Yeah. It's short-term decisions. It seemed like a good idea at the time.
Sure.
But then, oh no, the consequences, they're here again.
They won't stop coming.
So, alright, Peroz has a vast white Hunnic army together with him. He joins it to the noble army of the Mihran family that controlled a large proportion of the Empire's military forces. He sets this all under the control of a prominent Mihran general, and he marches onto Iran to the great showdown with Hormizd. There is a great climactic battle, and, well, with the support of the nomads, Peroz manages to win and crushes Hormizd's loyalist forces.
Oh no.
So, that's not great.
No. You said he doesn't get to be king. Or at least you mentioned that he wasn't particularly important.
Did I?
I don't know. Well, maybe he's Pedros the First. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I said that there is a Peroz the
Oh,
second who's a
true.
usurper
Yeah,
eventually.
yeah. No, I am
That's all I
confused.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
My bad. But yeah. Oh, good.
But
Well,
Peros the First
love that.
is coming.
We knew.
Because, yeah, we are then asked to wonder what happened to our boy Hormizd. Because, according to most sources, he is either killed personally by Peros or by the Mihran general that was leading the army, so killed in battle, together with most of his family. Although it's interesting to note that the execution order for the family and Hormizd, if he was still alive, may have come from this noble general, and that shows that they had enough influence to just kill a royal if they thought it was best for their interests, which is very surprising. Although, to be fair, if you want to go for stability, having a former king running around and his children, that's just begging for a civil war a few years down the line. So it is a terrible thing to do, but it is the efficient thing to do. You're saying, I'm better off killing a few dozen people now than having to kill thousands in a few years. So, off with their heads. On the other hand, there is still a version where Hormizd is pardoned and Peros rules with justice, but that seems to be a later alteration made to make Peros look better. Your thought? What do you think happened? Do you think our Hormizd was executed / killed in battle, or he was pardoned and everything was fine?
No, of course not. Are you kidding? I would like to think he was killed in battle, but like, who knows how it went. I am so
battle
worried.
Is a glorious
I am
way
so
to go
worried.
out.
I am so worried about the Empire.
Serial, come on. We have a guy who's become king who wasn't meant to be king. He has made some debts with some very scary people. What's not to love? It'll be fine. Also, he is enthralled to one noble family who he owes a lot. So there's a guy who owes his throne to nomads and one noble family. Let's see how that goes. But we'll find out next week in Peros the First's episode, which is, I would say, the start of a series of absolute bangers. Because there's a bunch of like non-stop intense episodes. It's going to start off like a bit back and forth. There's a few smaller ones in between, but there's a few which are just like, damn, this is a lot. But anyway, are you ready to rate Hormizd III, Serial?
Yeah, I guess. We've been recording for not long. Let's do it. I feel bad. Like, I guess maybe he would have been competent. We'll never know. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, he, I won't tell you an exact number, but he didn't rule long enough for us to be able to tell, oh, he was excellent, everything was going perfectly. And also his mom was mostly handling that.
Yeah, like,
while her sons
he just
killed each other.
Lost, so.
Yeah, so. Harsh times, but we'll see. So our first category is final moments. How interesting was his death? Either killed in battle, or commanded to be executed by his brother, or commanded to be executed by a noble, or pardoned and lived happily ever after.
Well, we don't know, right? And the most interesting death
but fratricide is spicy.
Yeah, being killed by his brother, which I think, maybe.
Yeah. It's not unreasonable to assume.
I think maybe he died in battle.
I mean, dying in battle is certainly the cleanest outcome for everybody, because Peros gets to seem victorious but doesn't have to kill his brother officially.
I don't know if Peros would have.
That's
That's
the
why
clean
I'm
outcome.
But then again, I am characterizing him as like a very cowardly kind of guy who doesn't get his hands dirty, so...
I mean, in typical mythology, he would be the cowardly king who just hides behind other people.
But I don't know, because like we get an episode on him, so like maybe... Maybe
next episode might be amazing. Maybe it's started a new
exactly. Maybe it turns out Peros is just what we needed. And the White Huns are not going to be a problem at all.
Maybe he gets to outlive the problem. Maybe it'll just be a problem for the next generation and he does great. You don't know. But yeah, so Hormizd's death, how would you rate it? What are you thinking?
We don't even,
We have options. It's not like a complete blank slate.
I'll say, if it's fratricide, it would be like a 3. It would be higher, but like it's not confirmed, so. Or if it's the nobles,
You're going that low?
I don't know, like...
I was thinking of going like around a 4, because I feel like there's partially the death in battle. It was definitely his brother's fault, one way or another.
It might have been the
And I
nobles.
don't really believe
Yeah.
the mercy version. So
No,
I feel like
I think a
is
4 is
worth it.
fair. I will go up
Okay,
to a 4 with you. Yeah.
fair enough. So yeah, with a 4 and a 4, we get a 4 out of 10 for final moments. Our next category is battle hardness. How good was he at war and fighting?
I mean, he lost.
Yeah,
So,
the only military event we know of his is that he loses a
yeah,
battle. There's the possibility that he was killed in battle, which suggests that he was in the
gives
front
extra
lines,
points. Yeah.
but that's as far as I'm willing to go. That's kind of it. We don't know much about his reign as a prince. Like, he was king of a vassal kingdom that was kind of on the border, so he may have had something to do with it, but we don't have any idea.
Mm.
I think I'm just going to give him a token 1 because he was close enough to battle that he probably died in battle. Or if he didn't, he was leading his own army and was captured soon after. So I'm going to give that just a 1 because attempts were made, but that's all.
Yeah, I'm doubting if to give any points. I mean, yes, 1 point because if he was killed in battle, that means he was there. Like, at least he was fighting his fights.
Yeah, he
So,
at least
yeah.
wore some armor and
Yes.
went to fight.
So 1
He
point.
did that much. Yeah, all right. So with a 1 and a 1, we get a 2 out of 20 for battle hardness. Our next category is scheminess. How good was he at plots and manipulations? So the only thing I can say here is that he managed to maneuver it so he got most of the noble families on his side, but he didn't get the most important noble family on his side.
Yeah.
So it's not great. If anything, I would say maybe a token 1, but that's kind of all I could say.
No. 0. I don't see any
Yeah,
manipulation
fair.
going on. I know that you're hoping, every time you try to justify it, you're just so hoping that a king will be schemy. But we haven't had this in so long.
No. Kind of sad.
I miss
but,
Darius.
well. Darius was good. Darius was good times. Musa was also fun. We had some good skibby times. But, we'll see.
But not that many. Not that much
Not that
political
many, no.
intrigue. It's more, at least not coming
it's a
from
matter
the
of
from the
sources
actual
mostly.
ruler.
Yeah. We're getting in a period where there will be more of it, but it is depending on the sources. And now we're getting closer to the bit where our quote-unquote indigenous sources are alive. I mean, we're still centuries away, but we're getting to the primary sources that our secondary sources used. So it's all
Thank
roughly
goodness.
there. So with a 0 and a 0, we get a 0 out of 20 for scheminess. Our next category is shock factor. How shocking was this man? He doesn't sound especially shocking. He was just there.
Yeah. He was supposed to rule.
He took the throne that he was meant to have.
I feel like his brother was much more shocking because he played such a gamble that paid off.
Yeah,
but
we'll discuss that next time.
Cost,
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see for how long does it pay off.
But for Hormizd, I'm just you did what I expected you to do.
Yeah, Hormizd he did what you would expect. He was just slightly ineffectual in gaining support of all the noble families. And that was it. So yeah, I think shock factor is a 0. I can't think of anything else where he might not have.
No.
Yeah. So, sorry Hormizd, but with a 0 and a 0, you get a 0 out of 20 for shock factor. Our next category is Aaron Shine. How good was he for the Empire in general and Iran in particular? Not great. He loses Caucasian Albania to a rebellion.
True.
That's kind of a way in Perils will have to deal with it.
Yeah.
That's not ideal. He has a weak enough grip on power that he loses the most powerful noble family and its support, and he loses a civil war.
Yeah.
So that's not great.
Yeah.
I don't think you can give him blame for the fact that the Hephthalites are now a massive threat.
No, that
on the
wasn't
border
on
of
him.
The Empire, but yeah. I think broadly the Empire is not doing well. I think that I'm going to dock him 1 point for losing Albania and 1 point for losing the Mihrans and the Civil War. So I think I'm going to go to a 3. I think it's the Empire hasn't exploded, but it's doing worse.
Yeah, I think a 3 is good.
So yeah, with a 3 and a 3, we get a 6 out of 20 for Aaron Shine. Our next category is Face of Faces. What do you think this man looked like?
give me a moment and I will let you know.
And see, I don't know what to do here because his Face of Faces has a crown.
Yeah?
Like, he has a crown on it, but the chart where I get all my crowns doesn't have one for him. And I don't know why. So, yeah. It's actually quite a good crown. I don't know what to do. Oh, actually, I'm wondering if somebody messed up Hormizd II with Hormizd III in this crown catalog. But I'll give you Hormizd II's crown, and you can be creative. We can assume that they either matched or whatever happened. Because it's a good crown. Yeah, I mean, Hormizd II does have that crown, so somebody messed up somewhere, but I'm not a historian. I don't know where. Okay, so Serial has finished their drawing. Let me pick it up and I'll describe it to you all. Very good. I like it. It's a strong vibe. So we see our boy, Hormizd. He looks like he's on some battlements, looking out over a balcony or some walls into a great valley beyond. There are clouds circling above. And he is sitting there. He has a tunic. He has a nice diadem and a cool crown. It has wings on its side and a globe in the center and a lot of curly hair. And he is gripping the edge of this wall, looking out onto this plain where there is a cloud of invaders coming over with an arrow saying, "The Hephthalites." And Hormizd is telling us all, "Peroz, what have you done?" And he did so correctly, because that's going to be terrible. We'll find out how exactly terrible it's going to be for Peroz. But yeah, so if any of you want to see this lovely drawing, you can go to the episode notes in the description. You can go on our website in Serial's Portrait Gallery, or if you're a patron, you can go to the Discord. So thank you very much, Serial. And now, would you like to see what he looks like? If it is him and not Hormizd II, but hey, it would be kind of... Yeah, I don't get it, but fine. I mean, he might have copied the crown. Who knows? Actually, let me just check the thing real quick.
Let us check, actually.
Okay, so it's unlikely that it's Hormizd II, because at that time, they didn't often have plates yet. So they might have just had the same crown. It could happen. I don't know. If you know, please write in. I'm curious. Okay, so here is what he looks like. Behold.
Oh, this is so similar to the other plate of his, I guess, grandfather?
Yeah, grandfather.
Slaying the goats. Antelopes. Horned ungulate creature.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so similar, except he's riding backwards on a chunky horse.
I love how chunky
the horse is excellent.
Great.
And shooting at some lions. And there's one on the ground and one, like, rampant jumping for him. I wonder why they would make this. Because we don't have any stories about this. Not like even before he was king. And also he was king for a short time.
Yeah, but you know, these plates, it's a trope.
Yeah, it's a motif. But like I said, very similar to the one of his grandfather. I mean, it's really cool. Like, it's a really cool plate. I love the horses and the lions. And just, yeah. I really like it. I wonder... I mean, I guess it can be him, right? At this point.
I mean, the crown is the crown of a Hormizd, either the second or the third, and the second is kind of too early for it to be, so it seems like a reasonable attribution to say it's Hormizd III, but also a bit unusual, I suppose, especially since we don't have any plates from Yazdegerd II, who ruled for almost 20 years, and Hormizd gets one, but that might just be the randomness of archaeological finds, where sometimes you're lucky and you find a bunch from one period, sometimes you're not. You just don't. So, there we go. So yeah, very nice. I like that the crown has a bird head on the front. That's pretty cool. Yeah. There's a bird with its wings protecting the globe. It's really pretty. That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, how would you rate this?
What did I rate the last plate? Because the plate was so cool. But it also had the whole story behind it, and it was the first time that we got a plate.
The Bahram plate was 9.
Yeah, no. It will be a bit less also because, like, is this Hormizd? I'm still a bit skeptical. Probably it is, but at this point, like, it's not, you know.
I'm going to choose to believe it is. To the best of my abilities, that is Hormizd III.
Fair enough. I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't be. It's just he reigned for a really short time, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll say, like, a 7 because it's really pretty and it's contemporary. Maybe an 8. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for an 8 because I like it. It's not like amazing, but it's a cool plate. The horse looks chonky. The lions look fierce.
The horse is so good.
Crown is
I will
cool.
give it an 8 because the horse is just excellent.
Love it. Very good. So for good horseness and other positive attributes, with an 8 and an 8, we get a 4 out of 5 for Face of Faces. Our next category is lengthiness. How long do you think this man reigned?
Like a year?
Slightly more, not too much more. He reigned for 2 years.
Huh.
From 457 to 459, which total 2 years divided by 10 is 0.2 out of 5 points for lengthiness. And that brings us to the final score, which is a grand total of 16.2 out of 100, making him the worst of his father and grandfather and great-grandfather.
Yeah. What do you
He's
want?
the worst in his family line for a while, actually. He's the worst in vertical ascendance of parent to parent to parent. He is the worst Sassanid. There are a few short-lived kings which were worse than him, like Bahram III, Adad-Narse, Shapur IV, Khosrow the Usurper, but he is the worst of his brand. And yeah, he is placed overall just under Gatarzes I and above Vologases III, who, I hear you ask, exactly, I reply. So, there we go.
Yep.
But we still have a final question to ask, which is to say, is he betrayed enough? Is he chonky horsed enough? Is he unleashed White Huns upon enough to be a Shahanshah? Or is he just a Shahanah?
No, there's not enough to be memorable, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just, no.
I am so...
There isn't much of an argument, but...
So curious about his brother and whether he's gonna do anything with the throne that he has sacrificed so much for. Whether he knows it or not. Or if it's just,
Yeah, we'll have to find out how well that goes for Peroz next time. So tune in and get ready for that. Hopefully it'll all work out fine for our old friend Peroz. In the meantime, if you'd like to support us, there are many ways to do so. You can join us on Patreon, where we have extra episodes that you can listen to. We just released one on a weird little gremlin called Alexander of Abonoticus.
Right.
He started a cult around a snake.
Oh, that was an episode.
That was fun. There was a lot going on there. Fun times.
Yeah.
Our next extra episode is going to be Ptolemy III, talking about how he helped increase the Library of Alexandria, brought the Ptolemaic Empire to its highest apex, invaded Mesopotamia, almost destroyed the Seleucids as soon as they started. Very impressive stuff. We'll have Pompey the Great after him, and after them, Odenathus. And in the backlog, we have Ashoka Maurya, Mithridates VI the Great, the Poison King, Alcibiades, Mani, Dionysus in India.
Yep.
Bunch of interesting people you can look forward to if you just join for as little as $3 a month. If instead you'd rather not support us monetarily, that's fine, but we'd appreciate if you could give us a review on your podcast app of choice. It can be anything, long, short, whatever you like. Spotify allows comments now, so that's an option as well. Just, let us know that you enjoy this and invite other people to join us on this journey. Have more people with niche knowledge about Iranian history. That's great. Can only improve. But yeah, I think that is all from us this week. We hope you have a lovely week, and we'll see you next time with Peroz the First. Goodbye.
Goodbye.